For this video, we're going to be doing a mock interview with someone who's gone through a crisis. The crisis is an earthquake. The person being interviewed is me.
If you're not videotaping your interview, be sure to record it in some way. I think you'll remember what the interviewee said, but you'll always get some facts wrong. Okay, could you please say your name, spell it for me, and then tell me how you would like to be identified?
Yeah, sure. My name's Nick James, Nickjames. I'm a gender studies major, and I'll be graduating in 2013.
Where did you grow up, and how long have you lived in Los Angeles?
I was actually born and raised in Santa Monica, so I've lived here all my life.
They may not have a lot to say at this point, but it gives you reference for where they're coming from. Chances are, if they've lived in California their whole life, they will have experienced a tremor, which will give you a certain direction to go with the interview. Also, easy questions at the beginning help put your interviewee at ease if they're nervous. Can you tell me where you were and what you were doing when the earthquake hit?
Yeah, I was actually on the 10th floor tower. The floor started to shake and I saw the lamp swinging back and forth.
Make sure your questions are open-ended. If I would have said, this old lady in Pasadena, she told me about this earthquake that hit and it was totally horrific, she said, and that it ruined everything. And
she didn't really ask me a real question. She just kind of threw all sorts of random information in, so I had no idea what to say.
The key to any good interview is to really listen to your subject. You should go into the interview with 5 to 8 questions in mind, but always listen to what your subject is saying and follow their answers rather than your question sheet.
More often than not, the person you're interviewing is going to surprise you. If you're tied to your list, you might miss some great answers.
Make notes as you are interviewing. Things like facial expression, demeanor, room description help you when writing the story later.
My roommate comes running into the room and he's totally freaking out because he's from Iowa, so he's never been through this before. But this was like my 3rd earthquake, so I just tried to get him to chill.
A good interview doesn't always have to be linear. So I was really interested in the first question I had asked when he responded about how his roommate experienced his first earthquake. So I went back to that information and asked him how his roommate responded to the new earthquake and if the subject was able to help his roommate through this new experience. If you're interviewing someone who had a loved one hurt or killed during the crisis, please try to balance getting the story with being a sensitive human being. Let them find their own response to your question. You must have been so scared during the earthquake. How did you feel? I mean, I would have been terrified. I was on the 10th floor and the elevators closed and I didn't know what to do and it was horrible. It was horrible, horrible. What was your response?
How am I supposed to answer this? Yeah, I was scared, but maybe not as much as she just assumed. What she should have asked was,
tell me how you felt when the earthquake hit.
Well, the first thing I did was call my mom because I knew she'd be super freaked out and I wanted her to know.
Wait, does your mom live here?
Because the interviewer just interrupted me, she'll never know what my mom said.
If someone is going way off topic and they haven't stopped talking for a considerable period of time, I'd say 5 minutes, then you can try and lead them back to your answer. But other than that, I would listen to what they have to say. You never know what you might find out, and they may be making a loop to get back to your answer. That covers some of the basics. Here are some questions you can ask when trying to get an oral history that revolves around a crisis.
How long have you lived in Los Angeles? Was this your first earthquake?
Where were you, and what were you doing when the earthquake hit?
I know that your building sustained some damage. How did you get out?
What was going through your head when you saw all the damage around you?
I'm sorry about your loss. Are you comfortable talking about where your friend was during the earthquake and what happened during the accident?
Are there any stories of heroics that you witnessed?
At the end of the interview, always ask the person if there's something you missed or if there's something else they'd like to talk about. You might be surprised by what they tell you.
Make sure you have your interviewee sign a permission form and give you their contact information in case you have any follow-up questions.
Remember, these tips can be applied to any interview where you're trying to capture someone's story.
Good luck and have fun with the interview.